Hey folks, it's Jordan here from the Tech Rack. Apple season is well in the works. Apple just released their new iPhones and also their Apple Watches. And today we're gonna unbox and get thoughts on the new iPhone 15 Pro. We're gonna spend some time unboxing the phone and getting to know what's different from its predecessor, the iPhone 14 Pro. And then I'll give you my thoughts on if you should upgrade or not. Before we get started, let's handle the basics first. iPhone 15 Pro still comes with a 6.1 inch display. The Pro Max version, the larger version of the Pro, still comes in a 6.7 inch display. Screen size have stayed the exact same for both models on the Pro level. Something that's new, but we'll get into later in this video, is that these Pro models are no longer made with stainless steel. These Pro model phones are now built with titanium. They've got titanium sides that are actually much lighter in weight, so it's much easier to hold your phone, especially that Pro Max model that's a lot heavier and heftier. And it's also stronger than stainless steel. So hopefully, you don't drop your phone, but if you do, it's much stronger than stainless steel and even aluminum that are on the standard models, such as, let's say, the 15, the 15 Plus this year. The Pro model phones come in 4 colors: black, white, natural, and also blue, which we have right here. When it comes to storage options, there's 4 for the Pro and there's 3 for the Pro Max. The Pro starts at 128, similar to what they've done the previous years. The Pro Max now start at 256 and go upwards to 1 terabyte with 512 right in the middle. They've cut out one option there, and they've actually technically increased the starting price for the Pro Max. They actually have kept the same. They just removed the 128 for the Pro Max, so it just starts now at that 256 gig level. Okay, basics are covered. Now let's unbox this blue titanium iPhone 15 Pro. Open the box, we've got obviously the phone, we've got the traditional manuals here, and if we look inside, I'm assuming there's a sticker, yes. And we've also got a SIM card tray ejector. I'm based in Canada, so we still have physical SIM card trays here. I know folks down south in the US, they do not, but they're here. Next, we have the charging cable, which is actually new this year. As you can see, we typically have a USB-C to Lightning cable, which is a traditional Apple cord and port that they use. They've now switched over to USB-C. So if I bring up this phone right here, you can actually see that it's a lot larger than it typically is. And it's because Apple was forced to change their cables to USB-C due to European regulations. The entire 15 model, 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro, and also the 15 Pro Max all have USB-C now. What this will do is actually help with faster data transfers. So if you are taking videos and photos and you want to move them to, let's say, your external hard drive or your computer, it's much faster, upwards to 10 gigabytes per second. And this is significantly faster. I think probably 15 to 20 times faster. For me personally, I film on my iPhone, so having this and being able to transfer large video files that I actually take is gonna be super helpful. It's gonna help me save time and actually put content on YouTube much faster and quicker. So for me, it's a plus. I know content creators, videographers, and photographers will for sure love this. Or even folks that just wanna get rid of their photos and put it on external hard drive or on Dropbox, etc. They're gonna be able to do it much quicker. Natural titanium was a very popular choice this year. Obviously the black and white are gonna do well as well. They're traditional colors. This blue titanium that we have here is really nice. Previous blue colors have been Sierra Blue, Pacific Blue on the 12 and the 13 there. This is more of a dark blue. And if those have seen those new M2 Airs in that midnight color, it looks exactly like that. Decent amount of similarities when it comes to its predecessor, the iPhone 14 Pro. It's got the same display with ProMotion upwards to 120 Hertz. It's got the same camera system, especially on the Pro, where it has all the exact optical lenses. And same with the screen size. It's still at a 6.1 inch display size. Let's take some time to focus on what's actually different. What's new to the iPhone 15 Pro models, and let's see if it's worth upgrading to. First thing that's new with the Pro model phones is that they're made with titanium frames. Previous models were built with stainless steel. Stainless steel is much heavier and it's actually not as strong as titanium. We've got lighter Pro model phones. They're stronger. Kind of the best of both worlds, especially when we're thinking about that Pro Max model that's a lot heavier than this Pro device. It's going to be much easier to hold. Even though it's roughly around 10% lighter in weight, that makes a difference. Folks have been providing positive feedback on YouTube, which you've probably already seen and heard and read. They're much lighter, they're easier to hold. They also have rounded corners as well. And if I compare my iPhone 14 Pro with the 15 Pro, you can see the sides here. The one in the white is the 14 Pro, and it's got more of a flat, shinier look to it. So fingerprint magnet, it does not have rounded corners, so it kind of feels like it's digging into your hands and palms. Whereas the 15 Pro, it's got rounded corners. It still takes a little bit of fingerprints, but it's easier to hold. It's a lot less shinier. For me, I think it's a win. Second is the display. I know the display size is the exact same, but I'm also focused about the bezels. If you put them side to side, you can actually see that the 15 Pro's bezels are slightly smaller. And essentially what Apple did was the screen size is still the exact same for both models. It's at 6.1 inches. And they've just reduced the bezels on the 15 Pro. So the phone is actually slightly narrower than the 14 Pro. It's a lot easier to hold, type with one hand, etc. And we think again of that Pro Max model, which is 6.7 inch display, it's a lot more easier to hold that as well. Third is USB-C. I know I mentioned it earlier in the video, but this is a game changer. I want to spend some time on this. So if you compare the previous model, you can actually see that the 15 Pro model is slightly bigger on the port here. That's because we no longer have Lightning, which is on the white one here. The blue 15 Pro now has USB-C out with data transfer speeds. I think the most important things, you only need to bring one charger. So if you think about your Apple ecosystem, you got a laptop, iPad, AirPods, and your phone. You can now charge them all with one single cable. Regarding the faster data transfers, that is only going to be available within the USB-Cs on the 15 Pro and the Pro Max. The base model 15 and the 15 Plus have a slower USB-C. The USB-C also allows you to actually film content while it's connected to an external drive, your external SD or anything that you have. With the USB-C, these 15 Pros can actually now charge your other devices. So if I, let's say, plug both of these in, there you go. The 14 Pro that I have here is being charged by this 15 Pro right here. So pretty handy, especially if you have, let's say, AirPods, headphones, or let's say your iPad. It can use some juice from your 15 Pro model phones. Fourth component that is new is the action button, which you can see just above the volume switches here. So we no longer have a mute switch, and I'll pull it up beside the 14 Pro that I have here. See that orange there? It's gone. The 15 and the 15 Plus on the standard side still had the mute switch, but the 15 Pro and the Pro Max only have the action button. The benefits of the action button is that it's customizable. So you don't have to put, let's say, a silent switch or have the same function that the mute button actually had. You can customize it in many different ways. The 15 Pro and Pro Max come with Apple's new A17 Pro chip. This is the very first Pro chip that they've ever put in one of their iPhones. Pro model has been in their MacBook lineups, but this is the first time that they put it in an iPhone. So last but not least, we've got cameras. For the 15 Pro, not much has actually changed from its predecessor. It's got the same 3 camera system. It's got optical lenses of 0.5, 1, 2, and 3x. However, on the Pro Max models, we do have a 5x optical lens versus a 3x. How that works on that end, it starts off at 0.5, 1, 2, and bumps up to 5. Optically, you can go 5x, and digitally, you can go up to 25x. When it comes to this 15 Pro, it goes up to 3x optically, and digitally, you can go up to 15x. If you're looking for pictures that can zoom in into the furthest distance out there, let's say at concerts, sporting events, etc., the 5x is likely the one that you'd probably prefer. So the Pro Max is the only model you can get. The Pro doesn't have the 5x optical zoom, but it does have 5x digital. And the difference between the two is that optical is kind of just natural. This is the lens that they're gonna give you, and it's gonna look pretty clear. Digitally just means that it's using software to zoom in, so it's not gonna be as clean and as crisp of a picture. There's a couple things that are new on all the cameras on the Pro models. The first is portrait photos. Typically, you've had to actually select portrait and then take those portrait photos based off of that setting. Now you can just actually take a regular photo on that 1x optical camera, the wide angle one, and be able to select portrait on the side on this logo here. And you can modify these pictures. So you can click on the object that you want to focus on, and it'll actually help you blur the sides. And so a lot of customization there and a lot of freedom. And then last is HDR5. HDR5 will help with more authentic and bright colors. If you compare the two, the 15 Pro should look more authentic, more brighter, more contrast. You know, some folks might not like that, but I think it looks pretty awesome. If we had to simplify it, why would you buy a 15 Pro? Well, even if you have a 14 Pro today, I think a couple of reasons why is that the phone's lighter and it's easier to hold. Some people like to carry phones that are super light. They don't want to carry it with a case. The lightness of the phone, the rounded corners, it's just much easier and much more enjoyable to hold. Especially if you think about those Pro Max phones that are typically much heavier, it's much easier to hold and easier to use. Next is the cameras. I know that these cameras have slight advantages like the HDR5, portrait photo mode, but when we think about that Pro Max, not this one here, it has a 5x optical zoom lens. That's gonna be super helpful if you wanna zoom into far distances and take as clear pictures as possible. Third is USB-C, faster data transferring. You have one cable for all of your tech. All right, folks, there it is. That's the iPhone 15 Pro. I hope you liked it. What are your thoughts on the phone? Are you gonna upgrade? Have you already upgraded? What about this color? I'm a big fan of the blue titanium, but I know natural titanium has been a hit. What are your thoughts on the colors? Let me know in the comments below. If you're happy with the content today, I'd really appreciate a subscribe and a like. It'll help me make some content similar to this that you're gonna be liking in the future. It's Jordan from the Tech Rack. See you guys later and on the next one.